Today on Twin Cam, we're giving little Melvin here a slightly overdue service. If you've been watching my channel recently, you'll know that Melody is the Metro that's been getting the most attention. This car has just kind of worked. I did put up a video a little while ago about refurbishing the rear brakes on the car because that was necessary, but apart from that, the car has just worked. It's not had much cosmetic or maintenance attention really, it's just worked. Melody's the one that's been getting the love because, as I said in that brake refurbishment video, this car is going to get restored over the winter and into next year as well probably, because he needs it. I've been driving this car for 5 years in all kinds of weathers, all kinds of conditions, loads of salt on the road, and it's taking its toll unfortunately. But I love the car, so it's getting some serious love. So I wasn't going to actually service the car this year because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the engine, and I wasn't envisioning on driving it that much. I was envisioning on putting the miles on Melody, making sure that she's okay so that I can take this car off the road and drive the other one. But here we are. I've been using this car more as it happens, and we're about 1,000 miles overdue for a service. So the car's done about 7,000 miles since it was last serviced, just over a year ago. Rover say 12, but realistically 6,000 miles. So 7 it's done, and we're just going to do an oil change today, something very simple. We're going to do loads of checks and stuff. We're going to readjust the rear brakes because they could do with doing. I might also level the suspension out a little bit because it's a little bit sunken on the driver's side, so I might bring it up depending on how lazy I'm feeling. But we're just going to check other things. So we're going to look at the plugs, we're going to look at the air filter to make sure it's still alright and not absolutely filthy. If it is filthy, we'll change it, but if not, it will stay as it is because, again, the car's getting restored in the winter and everything will be renewed then. So we're just going to keep him somewhat healthy with an oil change. So let's get the oil draining. Oh, now I believe this is a 19mm. Let's see how good my memory is. It is a 19mm. Oh, there you go. That wasn't too tight. Oh, and that oil is now draining very nicely. I didn't want to put the car too high up on the stands. I wanted to keep it relatively low because the sump plug is at the front of the sump. So if I jack the car up way high, the front is like that in the air and all the oil goes to the back of the sump. So I want it sitting as low as possible so that as much oil as possible drains into the drain pan. Unfortunately, the car is too low for me to have the car down on the floor to do this. I need it up in the air slightly, so not perfect, but it's okay. Also, it is filthy under there. It's so bad, but again, it's all going to get sorted when the car gets restored. So I'll take the cap off the oil to let it drain a little bit quicker, and then we'll start looking at the rest of the engine bay and just do a few little checks. This engine bay is rank. It is absolutely horrendous, and the oil leaks on this engine are, well, let's not mention them, eh? Problem is, it's leaking from the cam cover gasket. And you can't get these cam covers anymore. You can get the gaskets, fine. You can't get these cam covers anymore. They're unobtainium. And a few gaskets actually haven't solved the issue, so yeah, something needs to be done here. But I don't know what to do. So I need to find a good cam cover, preferably a brand new one, at least. But yeah, I just don't know. But the engine seems in very good health. Runs very nicely. Needs tuning. Sometimes it's a little bit too rich, I believe. At least by the way I feel it's running. Cam belt was done a couple of years ago, so that's fine for another little while at least. It's had new leads, had a new coil. Yeah, it's all very nice. The engine is running sweetly. So what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to have a look at how it's running. So I'm going to take a spark plug out. That exhaust manifold is still hot. I'm going to take a spark plug out and see whether my inkling that it's running slightly rich is correct or not. Huh. Come on, are you going to focus? Focus. Strange camera. Why won't you focus? Well, there you go. There is a spark plug, and ignoring all the oil around the, around the, what do you call it? I don't know. Anyway, ignoring all the oil, there's a little bit of carbon around the edge there, and then on the actual, is that the electrode? I don't know what all these things are called, but on the tip there, it's a little bit whiter than maybe you want it to be. It certainly looks whiter on camera than it does in real life. It's much more golden in real life, which indicates that it's not running too badly. Not perfect, but again, the car's getting restored, and when it does get restored, it's going to be taken to someone who knows what they're doing for it to be tuned impeccably. So, yeah, there's nothing absolutely horrendous on that. It's not too white, and it's not too black either. I'm quite pleased, and I didn't quite expect it to be so golden. Again, I'm looking on the viewfinder. It looks completely white on the viewfinder. It's not. It's much more golden. So that's not too bad. The gap looks a little bit big, but I'm not going to touch the gap because I can't be bothered taking all the others out. The car is running perfectly, so let's just take it as maybe it's not running as rich as I thought it was and put it back in. As we've been discussing the ignition system, we might as well stick with the ignition system, and now we're going to have a look inside the distributor cap. Not all that long ago, this was a brand new item. So I'm not expecting this to be too filthy inside, but we'll take it off. We'll give it a clean anyway, because every little helps. So first, I shall remove this clip to help us see. There you go. So we can just see a little bit better at the distributor. So this is the distributor. What it does, if you don't know, is that the camshaft turns and this rotor arm on the end here turns, and through the centre peg of the distributor you get a current from the coil into there, and then this distributes the electricity to each of the spark plug wires, which then go and fire the spark plugs. So that's how you get your spark in an old-fashioned car like this. So let's take this rotor arm off and have a little look. That doesn't look very worn at all. In fact, if anything. But I'll give it a little clean up and we'll put it back on. Look at that. Will it focus? Come on, there you go. Much cleaner. It was a bit dirty actually. I thought it was darker when I put it in, but no. Much lighter and more golden. So you can just see the little tip there where the centre of the cap has always been touching the arm, and then this fires around and distributes the power. So this only goes on one way, so you can't get it wrong. At least you shouldn't be able to get it wrong. But I'm incompetent, so you know. There you go. And now for the cap. So I'm not going to take all the leads off because then it just gets complicated, but see all these little points in here, and these are where each of the spark plug leads go onto, and then the power gets distributed. So these are all the contact points. So I'm just going to clean all of these off slightly. They all have corroded actually, a little bit more than I expected them to. So yeah, I should clean them off. So there we go. So that's all clean. It's actually just these little points here where the edge of the rotor arm just ticks against them. So there's a bit of build up on each of them. So that all came off. Came off in chunks actually, which just shows you know these things do corrode, and that is where your power goes away to. So clean this up, we'll get a little bit more power and the engine will run smoother as well. So let's put it back on. Don't forget to put the king lead back on. All those leads are nice and secure, and finally put that back on and put its little retaining ring around it. That's kind of on. It'll do. So our final check today is going to be the air cleaner. Before we get back to the oil, that is. Ooh, hold on a second. Haha, much better. Apart from a fly getting in there at some point. That doesn't look too bad. A few little flying things actually. But yeah, that is not too bad at all, considering that's how it looks on the inside. And that is how it looks on the outside. That is not too bad. It should be changed. I really should change this, but again, only a couple of months since coming off the road. And I haven't done, 7,000 miles, so that, save a bit of money, because God knows I need it, that can stay where it is. While we're here actually, might as well take this off. Unnecessarily annoying on a K-Series Metro, doing this, but you're going to have to come around here. We could do with checking the Dashpot oil in the carburettor. So what this does is it dampens out the action of the throttle. So what you're doing when you open the throttle, you're obviously moving the butterfly valve in the carburettor, and then this opens here. And then you can see, I don't know whether you can or not, probably not, you can see the needle and the butterfly valve for the throttle in there. This opens up and takes air in, but it's damped out by, in fact, let's close it back up again. It's damped out by the damper in here. So it's full of oil. Let's see, there you go, there must be some oil in it at least. When you push it up, the action is dampened, slowed down, so there's resistance behind it by the oil in the top of the dashpot. So what that means is you get smooth throttle application, because if there was no oil in it, that would just dance up and down and the car would judder and it would do strange things. So if your car isn't accelerating properly, if when you use the throttle response is all over the place and it just feels strange and judders, if you've got an SU carburettor, check the dashpot oil, because it might be something as simple as that. We are lacking a little bit in there actually, so let's keep that where it is. I should go and get a little bit of oil and we'll come back. I've said this before on this channel, but if you've got children, or you've had children in your house, these little medicine syringe things are brilliant for filling up carburettor dashpots. Perfect. And there you go. Another job ticked off the list. So before we put the sump plug back on and we start filling it up with brand new fresh golden oil, I am actually going to drop the car down onto the floor to get the last little bit of oil out of the sump. Reason being that, obviously I said I couldn't do it before because the car sits too low. Because of the nature of hydrogas, when I drop it down on the floor it should sit higher than it did before. So hopefully it should clear the drain pan. If you remember when I serviced Melody a while ago, and she'll need another service very soon because of how awful the oil was in here. It was horrendous, and it was full of gearbox as well, the oil, which is standard for an A series, but in Melody's case was really, really bad. So, but I really struggled to get the oil filter off. No idea how long it'd been on for, but whoever put it on last time had made a mess of it. So I bought this, which is an oil filter tool. Apparently, it's the best thing, and when I used it, oh my god. So this is my new favourite tool, and while the last of the oil's draining out of the sump, it might be a good idea now to get the oil filter off. Oh my god, it's the easiest thing in the world. Oh, I won't bring that out to show you until it's all drained out, so I put it on the edge of the drain pan. There's a little peg on the drain pan I've got to rest the oil filter on so it can drain, but just from the side of the oil filter. This car is filthy and the oil leaks are manky, but that thing, so easy. No more faffing about, just get one of these. This is from Halfords, obviously, because I'm in the UK. Everything in the UK car related is from Halfords. This is so good. It was so, I can't remember how much it cost me, but that was so worth the money. Best thing ever. I did have a chain style removal one where you've got like a lever and then a chain, and you put the chain around the filter, hook it onto the other end and then turn it. Doesn't work. Absolute rubbish. Worst thing I've ever bought. That's the best thing I've ever bought. So, while we're here, get the new filter out. It's a Bosch one, which I think the old one was as well. I'll have to have another... Yeah, it was a Bosch one, the old one. So this is exactly the same as the one that's come off it. Before anyone says, I can't fill it up with oil because it goes on the car sideways. The oil filter housing goes on like that in a K-series. So I'll just put a little ring of oil around it, and the oil we're using, Mobil, because it was on offer. I think I must have used Mobil oil last year as well, because I do remember being the best thing in the world. The little spout they give you on the top, so it makes it so much easier to pour the oil. This is 5 litres, a K-series takes 4.5, I think. So, oh, here we go again. So here is the sump plug, as manky as it is, with a new washer on it. And now, put this back on the car. So, a little bit of new oil around the seal on the filter. It's a bit too much new oil, but oh well. Just around there so that it seals nicely and so that hopefully it'll come off nicely as well when we put it back up, when we come to take it off next time. Right, so sump plug is done up, oil filter is on. Let's now very carefully, should use a funnel for this, but I'm going to try and be risky. Oh. Let's not do it that way around, eh? Let's do it the correct way around, which is this way. There you go. Glorious engine nectar. Just make sure it's not all coming out the bottom. Better safe than sorry. Lovely stuff. Allow us to continue. That now is about 4.5 litres. So let's check the dipstick. A little bit much, I think. Let's have a little check. Yeah, just over max, which is perfect as the oil filter will be empty. So, oh, try that again. for now, that'll do us. And we'll go for an engine start. Success, it seems. If you're wondering why it wasn't starting, it's because I left the choke in and I wanted to build up oil pressure before the engine actually turned over, because that way I do less damage to it. So I built up oil pressure, then I pulled the choke out and it started. So yeah, brilliant. Engine sounds a bit smoother. That'll be the combination of new oil and of course the distributor cap and rotor arm having been cleaned off. So very good. I shall check that on my own in a bit, top it up if necessary, but for now we'll move to the back of the car. Well, that was the plan anyway, but unfortunately I'm now sat here in the edit suite thinking 21 minutes is quite a long time. My videos seem to be known for being quite long, so I'm going to cut it off here. We'll do one video, this one for the front end of the car, and we'll do another video for the rear end of the car, so that will come midweek. But for now, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please do click like and subscribe to TwinCam as well. I'm forever indebted to my wonderful Patreon supporters, so if you'd like to support me that way, then please do follow the link in the description, and I'll have more videos coming along soon.